happy Cinco de Mayo, everyone. Chef Karl here from North Ranch Country Club. I'm going to walk you through a few nice, simple Cinco de Mayo recipes. The weather's going to be nice and warm, so I thought it would be great to barbecue something up. We're going to prepare my family recipe for margaritas. This is my dad's recipe, going way back to, I guess not my childhood, but pretty close to it. I'm pretty sure I wasn't 21 when my family was feeding me these, and it's great to start off with the margarita, and then we'll get the cooking going. People always say, Karl, you cook all day at work. Do you really want to cook when you get home? And I always tell them, it's not work if you have a cocktail in your hand, especially if you're cooking outside. So we're going to get started here. I think there's only 4 ingredients in this margarita, but it's delicious and clean flavored, very refreshing. One important thing is that we always use fresh lime juice. I squeezed a little lime ahead of time, but I'm going to show you this gadget that I love. With the limes, it's always good to roll them a little bit, releases some of the juices. And then I really like this citrus squeezer. They have ones that are green that are just for limes. This one, I suppose, is for lemons, but I like this one because you can use it for lemons and limes. And the lime gets cut in half, and then we just squeeze the juice right in there. And this is a really simple recipe, and I'm just giving you the ratios. So I'm not giving you any quantities. It's simply 2 parts tequila, 1 part lime juice, and 1 part triple sec. So I'm going to start here with the lime juice. We have 1 cup. And then we're going to do 1 cup of the triple sec. Triple sec is a orange flavored liqueur, but it doesn't have the caramely flavor of Grand Marnier or Cointreau. Cointreau is actually also really delicious. It has more of a orange peel flavor, but it also has a carameliness. I like the triple sec because it just makes it taste very fresh. We're going to use a silver tequila. Today we're using Patron. The reason why I like silver tequila adds a little bit of that white pepperiness and citrus zest, as opposed to a reposado, which has more of a caramely and smoky flavor to it. So silver tequila is going to make a fresher tasting margarita, but you can use whatever tequila you love. So then we have our 2 parts tequila, and that's our mix. I'm not going to drink all this today. I'm going to share this with my studio audience, but you can make this ahead of time and put it in your refrigerator, and it would keep for a week in the fridge, and then just pour it on ice when you're ready to roll. So I have some rocks glasses here. You could also use the same mix and blend it in the blender if you like a blended margarita. So I like to use a good amount of ice, especially on your first cocktail, because the ice is going to chill the glass down. And then after that, your glass is cool. You don't need as much ice. And then we're just going to pour the mix right in there. A lot of people like the salted rim. I just like to simplify that, and I like to put a little bit of Himalayan sea salt. Just a little bit, unless you like it really salty. And there we have it. It's my family recipe margarita. Hope you enjoy it. Awesome. Ooh. All right, now that we have our margarita, so we have something to sip on, we're going to make a little guacamole so we can have some chips and guacamole and have some snacks while we're grilling our chicken. I've done lots of different guacamole recipes in my days, and lots of people put different ingredients in them. Put onion, tomatoes, cilantro, chilies, lime juice. Some people even put garlic in their guacamole. And over the years, I've just come to really simplify it. I really enjoy avocados, and I want to taste the richness and the creaminess of the avocado and not complicate it with other flavors. So we have a very simple recipe, and it's funny, I was making this today in preparation for the class, and I had my guys taste it, and they were like, "Chef, what did you put in this guacamole?" And I said, "Well, I just put the green Ukitake, some cilantro, and some lime, and they're like, "Oh, this tastes like real. This is how we make it in Mexico." So, I guess to some people, this is a more authentic version as well. So, to prep the avocados, the recipe calls for 4 medium avocados. These avocados are running a little bit small, so we have 5 avocados. We're just going to cut them in half, and then we're going to remove the pits using the knife. So just stick it like that. And then the easiest way is to just use a spoon, and we're going to scoop it right out. Avocados are in peak season right now for California as well, so it's a good time to have guacamole. Now the Ukitake sauce is a green habanero sauce, and it's called Ukitake because habaneros come from the Yucatan region of Mexico. I find this sauce to just have the perfect flavor for guacamole. They have the heat and that little sharpness that comes from the green habanero, and they have a little bit of acidity. So if you weren't able to find this sauce, which you can find at just about any Mexican market, and of course on Amazon.com, you could substitute preferably a serrano chili with just a touch of lime juice. So this recipe calls for half of a bunch of cilantro. Save that other half bunch, we're going to use it in the next recipe. And we're going to give that a little bit of a chop here. And first we're going to mash up the avocado. So I like to use a wire whisk, or you could also use a potato masher. If you don't have that, then you could use a fork or a spoon. This just makes it a little bit quicker. And you can make it as smooth or as chunky as you like. I like mine to be a little bit chunky, so we've got it there. Then we're going to add our cilantro. Half a teaspoon of the green Ukitake sauce. If you like it mild, you can put less. And of course, if you like it hotter, just go for it. And then we have 1 teaspoon of sea salt. I'm just going to grind it straight in there. Chefs never measure, so. And then we're going to mix that up. And it's that simple. Just mix it to incorporate all the ingredients, and then we're going to serve it in a nice bowl. Garnish with a little lime, and a sprig of cilantro, and then just to make it pretty, we have a little bit of chili powder. And that's our super simple guacamole. All you need is the chips. So if you want to make your guacamole ahead of time, that's fine. I have a great method for that. You want to put it in a sealed container, so we wouldn't use this bowl. But the trick here is to take a paper towel. You want to lay the paper towel nice and snug over the guacamole so it's in full contact with it. Then you're going to take this vessel and wrap it with plastic wrap tight and put it in your refrigerator. You can store it for several hours and up to a whole day in advance. When you're ready to serve it, simply pull back the paper towel and the guacamole will be nice and green and fresh. Trust me. All right, we got our margarita, we got our guacamole and our snacks. Now we're going to start some cooking. We're going to do a chicken dish called pollo a la brasa. So basically chicken on the grill. We're going to use some spices from the south of Mexico. And almost all the time when I'm doing marinades, I just let a blender do the work for me. Less chopping, less dicing, less mixing. So we're going to add all the ingredients. We have a lot of citrus here. We have lime juice, lemon juice, and orange juice. Then we have our honey. We're using a local honey from Fillmore. Dry oregano. 8 cloves of garlic. So there's no reason to chop it. Just add it right into the blender. And then we have our achiote paste. This might be something that you're not familiar with. So this is a spice that comes from the Ukitake, and it's actually made with ground enoto seeds. So it comes in a block like this. You could get it at any Mexican market, some grocery stores, and of course Amazon.com. And you get a brick like this. We're going to take a quarter cup of that, add it to the blender. Then we have our salt. And smoked paprika is the best, but if you don't have smoked paprika, we're going to use regular paprika. This just adds a nice little smokiness. Okay, then we're going to add all these ingredients to the blender and blend them. And then once they're smooth and the garlic is all broken up, then we're going to slowly add our oil, and then we're going to add our cilantro at the very end. We want the cilantro to just be like chopped, not completely pureed into the mix. It says on the recipe, chopped cilantro, but there's really not a need for it. You can just throw your half bunch of cilantro in there and the blender will do all the work. So let's get started here. Now I'm actually going to turn the speed of the blender down to low, and I'm going to add our cilantro. Alrighty, now that we have the marinade all mixed up, the cilantro is chopped in here, we're going to pour 3/4 of this into the bowl, and we're going to save about 1/4 of it for basting the chicken later. So I'm just going to pour that off into this container. Don't want to waste any. Okay. Now it's time to get our chicken ready. So you can buy a whole chicken, or you can buy pieces of chicken. So it just depends on how you want to do it and how you want to present it. I'm going to show you 2 different ways. So if you start with the whole chicken, we're going to just cut right through the middle of the breastbone. And then we're going to take out the back. You can save this. I always save that for stock in my house. We also save them here at the club. So we're going to do part of it with a half a chicken. I also just take this tip off of the wing. There's not that much meat on it, and it's actually really good for chicken stock. It has a lot of collagen on it. And there's our half chicken. And then for the pieces, we're going to cut it. This is half, so it's going to be 5 pieces, but I typically cut a whole bird into 10 pieces. And the way I do that is first I'm cutting the thigh and the leg. Then I cut it right between the joint with the drumstick. So you have a thigh and a drumstick. Then I take the wing off. And then I cut the breast into 2 pieces. Then we're just going to toss that in the marinade. And I like to marinate this for 24 hours. You want to marinate it at least for several hours, but putting it in the refrigerator overnight really makes the chicken taste delicious. I would suggest not marinating it more than a day as well, though. What happens, citrus starts to break down proteins, and your chicken can start to get a little bit gritty. Alrighty, now we're going to go over to the grill and get this started. Okay, so today we're using a Weber barbecue, which is a charcoal grill. And we're going to put the chicken down with indirect heat. So as you can see, all of our hot coals are here on this side. We're going to lay our chickens down bone side down first on the cooler side of the grill. If you were using a gas grill, what I would do is heat the whole grill up and then turn off one side, and you're going to put your chicken on the side that's turned off. Now we're going to take the cover and we're going to cover the chicken. So you notice I put the lid down and I have the vent here on the left-hand side over the chicken, and the heat is coming from this side. So by doing this, we're creating a little bit of a convection. So the heat is coming through here to go out the vent, and it's circulating around the chicken to cook it more evenly. Okay, now that the chicken's been cooking for 15 minutes, we're going to take a look at it. Looking good. We're going to brush it with a little bit of the marinade before we give it a flip. And then we're going to cover it back up the same way. All right, so now that it's been cooking another 15 minutes, I hope you've had at least enough time for one more margarita. And we're going to take a look at it. We've got some more color on there. One thing I forgot to mention, the reason why we took a quarter of the marinade out to baste it is once the chicken's cooked, we don't want to be basting it with something that has raw chicken juices in it. So that's why we have this separate marinade. Now we're going to baste it one more time. And then we're going to move this chicken over onto the hot side of the grill. And we're just going to get a nice sear on it and get some nice color and get that skin a little bit more crispy. It's looking pretty good. While this is cooking on the hot side, this is not a good time to walk away and enjoy your margarita and talk to your friends. When you have chicken on the hot side of the grill, you really need to be standing by it and not walk away. The chicken fat's going to give off some oil, which could flare up your flames, and then it's going to get a little bit too crispy. So you want to stay here, keep an eye on it. If things start catching on fire, you want to move them around, flip them as need be, and just really be attentive on what's going on here. You can see we're already getting a little bit of color on that drumstick. I'm going to move this half chicken so that we're working on the skin as well as this thigh. Should take about 10 minutes, and it really varies depending on the heat of your barbecue and your coals. So if you're using a gas grill, right now we're on the side where you would have it on high heat. All right, I'm getting hungry now. Let's see if that chicken's ready. So, we are looking good here. Pull this, give our pieces and our half chicken. Now you want to cook this chicken to an internal temperature of 160 degrees. Now I like my chicken thighs cooked even more than that. I always figure you can't cook a chicken thigh enough. But so if you're cooking it separately, you might want to just cook the thighs a little bit longer. So we're looking good here. Our half chicken. Everything is great. And I'm going to put this to the plate. So on the half chicken, I'll cut it just like we did before while it was raw. I'm going to take the drumstick off, serve the thigh, cut the breast in half. Get out of here, Thomas. And then take the wing off. And you'll see we're serving this with some black beans, Mexican rice, and sauteed squash. So all these recipes are going to be available with our curbside pickup on Wednesday and Friday of this week. You'll be able to get the chips and guacamole, the pollo a la brasa, and the margaritas to enjoy your own home on 6 de Mayo and 8 de Mayo. So I want to thank you all for watching this video. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you try these recipes. Cheers.